Well, as a youngster, I participated in all sports up and through primary school. I did soccer, tennis, cricket, athletics. Everything that I could. I enjoyed sports, and I just enjoyed being outdoors and being active. And then I got good at most of the sports, and I got elected to be represented on a couple of the provincial squads. Unfortunately, those trials were always coinciding with school holidays, and school holidays always coincided with tennis events. So I always ended up choosing to play tennis tournaments, and once I saw that happening, I kind of knew that tennis was always going to win out against all the other sports. And so at the age of 14, I kind of ended up not participating in as many sports and specialized in tennis, increased the amount of coaching hours that I received and the amount of training I put in, and from about 14 through 16 I just trained as hard as I could with not doing any other sports. And then from there it just kind of grew, and I got better and better, and by the time I got to 17, 18 I was ranked in the top 5 in the country in my age group, and decided a tennis career was what I wanted, and it was a possibility, so I went out and went after it.
At the age of 14, how many hours or practices a week were you training in tennis?
Probably at age 14 or so is just when I was starting to get involved in tennis. So I think at the time I would have an hour of private coaching a week, and maybe I think Monday, Wednesday, Fridays I was doing, say, an hour and a half of squads practice with other players. And then I probably increased that to maybe 2 coaching hours a week, and tennis probably every day, maybe except the weekend. But on Saturday mornings we'd have our provincial squads as well. So I was probably practicing 6 days a week towards 16, and that was probably most of the time after school. And then in between that I would travel internationally for some tournaments when that arose.
What were you telling yourself at the age of 18 when you were ranked in the top 5, when you weren't quite number 1 and number 2? What were some of the things that you were telling yourself about where you were at and what you wanted?
Well, it was still I knew I was still developing. Everybody's different, and I was a late developer physically, so I knew that I still had to grow into my body. And so as a result of that, I knew there were still improvements to be made, and there always is. So I just kept trying to stay committed to improving, and knowing that as long as I kept improving, I'd keep getting better, and as long as I keep getting better, I'd keep making results and climbing the rankings. And so I just knew that if I stuck with that eventually the results would come, and thankfully they did.
How has that mindset stayed the same or changed over the course of your long and successful career as a tennis player?
Well, I still think I have that a little bit of that mentality, because otherwise I still wouldn't be playing. Because to me, as long as I feel like I can still improve, or still am playing well, or still improving, still learning new things, then I feel like I still should be competing. And I do still feel like I am learning. Unfortunately, I think the athletic ability and the genetics of players are getting bigger and stronger at an earlier age, and that's definitely evolving the sport. But I have a little bit of experience, and I try and use that as much as possible. And